everyone. Welcome to this edition of Kriegs Korner. That's Corner with a K. I'm your host, Adam Krieger. Today, I'm joined by the second longest Vendetta tenured employee, writer, whatever you want to call us nowadays, Alex Chick. Alex, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. How are you, man?
Good. I'm good. So this is a long time coming. We've kind of interacted in the Slack before. We're usually teaming up against someone, but it's those days are in the past, at least for now. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from, all that fun stuff. Let our audience know who you're at.
Well, as you said, my name's Alex. I actually never thought about covering sports. But me and my best friend, we were like, let's start just talking about sports, on Twitter or whatever. And then I saw Trey's tweet about he's looking for a guy like for NFL, NBA, and I was like, shit, why not? Like, let me go talk to him, And that from there, shit was history. So that's basically how it all started. I was during that time, that was 2 years ago. So I was working at Walgreens then, and I was putting myself through college with a kinesiology degree. I was trying to get all that squared away. So but now I am a teacher. I have my degree. I am a teacher. I coach. I coach, football, basketball. We're doing track now, and then soccer's next. So it's fun stuff. I live in Texas, so it's a little bit different. I mean, most of these people that are from the site, most of them live in Northeast, so that's kind of weird. I've only visited the Northeast a couple times, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of who I am. I mean, I'm a little bit, as you said, we kind of team up on people. I talk shit constantly to everybody and anybody. Like I wake up, those guys that wake up and choose violence. That's your boy right here. That's me. That's what I do.
Yeah, his Slack bio was like 2-time reigning shit talking champ or whatever it is. That was a nice little change to wake up to this morning or yesterday. Got a good laugh out of it, and I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I wake up and choose violence, but like I'm down to have a sports debate. And I like when people have opinions and are confident behind them or want to debate them, and so that's kind of where my issue lies. But whatever, that's not that important, especially nowadays. Dude, it's kind of crazy. You said you mentioned that you're down in Texas, and up here, like the world's pretty much been shut down pretty much for a year. So I also coach football and wrestling when it happens, but it's crazy that you guys had all those seasons and shit already. Meanwhile, we're just all we're stuck in stalemate, like purgatory.
To be honest, I had no fucking idea. Like that's how like closed off. Like I don't understand. Like Trey was talking about it. Like I was talking to him one day, and he was like saying, "Yeah, they shut down the schools up here. Like we're teaching online. And I have kids in my classroom. We teach in the classroom now. Like we all wear masks. It's kind of fucking stupid, but you know what? That's what we're doing. Like I feel like it'd be safer to teach online, but I thought everyone else was on the same fucking board, and then everyone's like, no, we're not teaching in class. It's just dumb old Texas down here doing that shit. So
yeah, I mean, I can only speak for New York and what I know, but like there hasn't been a time where all the students have been in the classroom, at least like statewide, and that's going to happen in April. But today was the first day of official football practice in at least my area. I think it was all New York, but meanwhile you guys had a full fucking season. Basketball, it's crazy. I'm a little envious, but whatever, to each their own. Yeah, the classroom thing is kind of crazy. I mean, you probably have more of an opinion on this, and this is kind of getting too far down a rabbit hole that I wasn't expecting to go on, but I think kids should be in fucking school. I know obviously there's safety reasons, but like I could just tell from the people I've seen and the kids I've interacted with, like we're almost on a full year of kids not being in a classroom full time, and there's no way that these kids are retaining the information that they need to know, and like
they don't do shit,
and the schools are just pushing them. Exactly, you would know, like the kids are just gonna move them along, and we haven't changed the standard of education or anything like that. These kids are just probably the exact same point they were last year, if not worse. Now these kids are, they don't have synchronous class. They're waking up at noon, staying up till 3 a.m. Like that is not what we want our kids to be doing. But that is a conversation that I'm not equipped enough to have, and Slash, he probably crosses too many lines. I have one rule, and it's no politics. So
it's a shit show. It's a shit show. Just know it's a shit show.
All right. So moving on out of the shit show into the sports world. Alex is one of our NBA guys. He's been on a few NBA shorts, and he's always writing some new stuff. But so we wrapped up the All-Star game. We're recording on Monday. The All-Star game, pretty much All-Star weekend was just jam-packed into yesterday. I honestly didn't even know it until it was happening, but uh, Steph Curry won the three-point contest. Not Obi Toppin did not win the dunk contest, but like, do you think there's a way we can fix like the All-Star weekend and like what's going on, or is it just kind of just like whatever it is what it is?
I mean, I like the events. I think the 3-point contest is fun. Because it's just guys shooting. Like, and you know what? It's like who's the fucking best shooter right now, here and now. I feel the dunk contest, like, there's no fucking rules for it. It's just like, oh, did I like this dunk or did I not like this dunk? I think it's kind of stupid. I think it's really cool to see how athletic and some of the dunks these guys come up with, but there's no way, like, there's no fucking like meaning or words like, oh, I'll give it a 10. I'll give it a 10. There's like, I feel like there's these, but then you don't want it too structured. It's a dilemma. But I don't really take the skills competitions. I don't watch it. I don't watch it. These guys just fucking, they're dribbling up down the court. Okay, do this. It's a waste of time. Now the All-Star game, don't get me fucking started on the All-Star game. I can't fucking stand the All-Star game. I mean, like, first of all, the people that are playing are voted. Like, and it's not like just, maybe the media or like, people actually in the NBA. No, it's from the fucking fans. It's a popularity contest. That's why I don't give a shit who goes to the All-Star game. I laugh when people are like, well, this guy, 9-star or he's a 9-time All-Star. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? He was voted in by fans. That's part of the vote. I don't care how much of the vote it actually is. He's still voted in by fans. That's still a percentage. But if you get like the all NBA guys and then put them in the game, yeah, okay. I'm like, okay, this is real shit because this is voted by the league, not just the fucking fans. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I, that idea was thrown around. I think it was by you, but that's a great idea. And if you have it at the end of the season, you have it at the end of the season. So you can get the actual true all pro guys in there. But as far as like the dunk contest goes, I just feel like we're so like fucking withheld from the best athletes and the best people doing it because like we grew up, we saw the clips of Jordan's dunk contest and even like and all these like the main like the best players in the NBA, the people that actually people wanted to see, and now we're just getting, you know, three G League guys and Obi Toppin, and
Yeah.
the only reason I even know who Obi Toppin is because he's a Knick and he's from the same area as me, so that's kind of that. But I mean, it, I think they need to incentivize it, and the only reason that I say that is because the MLB I think has done it best. It's the same idea, the popularity contest, but there is like some stakes at the end of it. If you give a home court advantage, and that's what it is in MLB, you get a home field advantage in the World Series. That's the way to do it. Is that even think they have something to consider for the All-Star game or?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's because I don't know. I think it means at least like not last year, but like this year, we're having, fans. Nah, actually, we're not having fans back. We're playing back at their own stadiums. But I think maybe not this year, but next year it's going to make it. You just can't do it just because that home court advantage is fucking like, I don't know how it is home court advantage or home like field advantage for like baseball. For basketball though, like in the NBA playoffs, that shit matters,
Well, I mean, in
right?
baseball, it matters because you get the last licks. You're the home team. You get a chance to walk
That's true.
off. It actually might matter more than it does in the NBA, other than your PA system going defense and all that stuff. Like
Right.
there's actual on the field game impact. I don't know what the deal is. In MLB, people don't always like that, and I think even the last few years they've kind of flip flop. If that's even the case, like I said, it was the case, but I don't even know if it is this still the case anymore. But it's just there has to be some stakes involved, or just or do what the NFL does, just bury it in the dead week and just like let it go. I mean, I don't know. The dunk contest though has so much potential, and it just gets wasted away by these guys just opting out or saying no to it and all that
You
shit.
would my idea that I thought, and I shared this in the shack or the Slack, was like a 3-on-3 kind of thing, right? And you have like a little tournament. So this is what you have 8 teams, right? So what I would do is I would pick the 8 best players, 8 like most voted guys. So you're probably talking about LeBron, KD, James Harden, Steph Curry's. in there. Giannis is that's 5. There you come up with 3 more,
Right,
right? Doesn't
Kawhi,
matter.
all those guys.
Right. And then from there, you have them pick, or you have like you could do a draft, kind of like how they do like Team LeBron and Team Durant. They do a draft. You could do that with 8 guys, right, and pick 2 people, right, and then do like just a little mini tournament. However, you would have to get all the fucking players to be like, yeah, I'm down for that. No, I'm down. I'm not down for that. Like you would have to get all the players involved, and they would have to be okay with doing like a little mini tournament just during that dead week. And a lot of those players use that time to rest during that, the NBA season. So it's kind of hard to fix. Like I get the All-Star game. I don't know. I don't watch it. It's kind of just for, highlights, and I get that, but it's like it's a waste of my time. So I feel like
Yeah.
an incentive is needed.
I agree. You got to incentivize it. And the NFL just incentivized it with a fat fucking payday at the end. Like the winning teams got it. I think they kind of went in the right direction with getting rid of the East and West and having like it be drafted. And there's definitely potential in it, but the way it is right now, I would say it's borderline unwatchable. I know I didn't watch it. Did you
I
watch it?
didn't. No, I
Yeah,
didn't fucking watch
exactly.
that shit.
We were talking about it on the channel. I think like maybe 3 people watched it. Like I went back. I saw the dunks on YouTube, and like in a 5-minute video, I saw everything I need to know. Like, what am I going
Just watch the highlights. You'll
to
save 2 hours
exactly?
of your time. You'll save two
Exactly.
hours of your time.
All right. So the big NBA news went down this weekend. It's actually not on our site, which is kind of an L on our part.
Dakota said we didn't have to do it because you know what? He's not going to the Nets, and then he went to the Nets, and I was like, well, there you go.
Oops.
Whoop. Big
So
hoop.
Blake Griffin joined the Nets. The Nets are obviously one of the favorites to win it all with or without Blake. But do you think that and Blake Griffin sucked this year, the last 2 years? He hasn't even dunked. The guy was dunking over cars and shit a few years ago now, can't even get 10 feet high and touch the rim. Do you think that it's gonna help the Nets, or is just gonna be like another big name and yeah?
No, I think it definitely helps. I'm not really sold on. Let me choose my words carefully here. I think the Nets win the title, but I'm not sold on their front court. Is what I don't think it matters. But having Blake Griffin in, he's not a starter. He's not starter caliber anymore, and I think that's what everyone expects from him. He's not. He's not. He's sucked, like you said. He sucked the last 2 years. I mean, he's basically unplayable. I forgot he was in Detroit for half the time he was there, right? So he's just kind of. But coming off as a bench, if he can, just even be for a couple minutes, be prime Blake Griffin, or even come off the bench and just be, that's a hell of a bench player, basically. You know what? So you have Blake Griffin as a fucking bench player, then yeah, no, it's no fucking contest.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't start, which he most likely won't, he's going to give guys like DeAndre Jordan and their guys like a little bit of just another few minutes to catch their breath, be a serviceable guy who can get some rebounds. Uh, what I'm curious to see is that if he was just pulling like the greatest trick on everyone, like a little James Harden did, where he lazy, he's just chilling, and then he's going to come back and just. He's obviously not going to be the Blake Griffin of old, but if he's going to be a guy who can give you, I don't know, 20 and 10 if you need him to on a day where, especially with the Nets, like there's so much going on with their main guys. Kyrie, you never know what's going to happen with him day in and day out. If he wants another mental health day, like, and Durant's never kind of feels like he's never been 100% since he got hurt in the finals a few years back, like in and out. So there is times where the Nets might need another guy outside of Harden, which is crazy that Harden is going to be the guy considering what we've seen for him in the playoffs. But I'd be interested to see if Blake can, do some things and make some shit happen for them. But I don't know. I'm not really sold either. It's gonna be an interesting year in the NBA.
No, I feel like it's already written in stone. The Nets are gonna win because I know that because one, Trey's been talking shit to me about it because everyone that like has at least read my James Harden knows I fucking hate James Harden. I can't stand the way he plays basketball. I can't stand his fans. It was worse when he played in Houston because his Houston fans are already fucking obnoxious and they're fucking annoying. They have nothing to show for it. But I mean, and then you have James Harden, and James Harden, like I just hate how he plays. People go fucking crazy. He'll shoot 5 for 25, but he'll make fucking 20 free throws, and then people go nuts over that shit. I don't get it.
It's funny if I would have had you. So like I said, we're recording Monday. The show goes out Tuesdays and Fridays, but on Friday's episode, on when I record Thursday, I usually have Scotty Ice in the back half, and he is literally like a James Harden stan.
Oh
It
no,
has been for a while.
it
So
wouldn't have worked.
if I would
It
have had
wouldn't
the
have worked.
if I would have had the parody of this the first half and him in the back half would have been crazy. And
Oh yeah.
he is a lifelong Nets fan. So I mean we're gonna hear about it in next episode what he thinks. But yeah, it is funny with the two worlds colliding. I don't know how I feel about Harden. I'm a very casual NBA fan. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm not like I don't follow games day in and day out. But the Harden narrative is that he can put up crazy numbers in the regular season. But I do watch playoff basketball because playoff basketball is awesome.
Hmm.
But he's just like MIA the whole time, man. So when this team might need a guy down the stretch that isn't Kyrie or Durant, and you don't think Harden's gonna give it to him?
I think he'll be fine. I really think the Nets will be fine. Like shit's so fucking annoying. Like I hate it because I was okay with this Nets team until James Harden went, and then James Harden went, and I was like, fuck, I really have to root against this team because I just hate James Harden that much. I think, and I've been known as a LeBron James hater, and I hate James Harden more than LeBron James. Like that's how this shit runs deep. I don't like him. I mean, I think he's a great player. I just hate how he plays basketball, and it's fucking annoying. His fans are the worst. I think that's what's most of it. It's like, they just I don't know how they come across as like he's the best player in the world. He's really touched a nerve. They said he's the best shooting guard ever, right? Better than
Even I know that he's
yeah.
not even
Well,
close.
even second or third, that's not even true. First of all, you have he might have a running for fourth, but right now he's fifth for me just because I don't like him. But it's MJ, it's Kobe, it's Dwayne Wade, it's Allen Iverson, and then I'll put James Harden. Okay, but he's catching on AI. He'll be fourth in AI, but he's not better than Dwayne Wade. He's got to win a fucking ring first, which
Fair
he will
enough.
this year. So I don't know what's going on anymore.
All right, so you already gave me your NBA Finals champion prediction, but before we get there, what else is going to happen in the East? I know you think obviously the Nets are going to win it all, but is there going to be any competition like the Bucks going to give them a problem or anyone maybe we're not thinking about that might
I
sneak up
think
there?
I think uh I think the only teams that are really kind of relevant for lack of, and I know this might hit hard for you, but I take it you're a Knicks fan, correct?
If I had to pick a team, it would be the Knicks,
Okay.
unfortunately.
It's just between 76ers, the Bucks, and Nets. And I don't even like picking the Bucks because I don't know. It doesn't feel right. There's something missing from that team. They need they need a shooter. That's what it is. I think it comes down to Giannis can do everything but shoot. Chris Middleton, he doesn't take over games enough. Drew Holiday he's Drew Holiday. Like he's a great player, but he's not going to same thing as kind of like Chris Middleton. They're not going to take over games like, oh, especially if Giannis is like in foul trouble or something. It's like, okay, it's okay. They have Chris Middleton. I'm not sure. I'm not so sure that Chris Middleton's going to be it. Like the 76ers, I feel like have a well constructed roster, and that's till Daryl Morey. I think he deserves a lot of credit in that. I just it's the Nets. I mean, the Nets it's talent driven. They're the Monstars, man. They're the Monstars. So I mean,
My thing with the Sixers is that, and I've said this before, but there is no way I think you can be a legitimate team when you have a point guard that can't shoot. And having Ben Simmons being like the guy who brings up the ball and facilitates for the offense, and just him not being able to even shoot 40% from three, even give me a 30% from three. Like it's just I don't see how that wins in today's NBA when literally all five guys on your team can most likely hit a three-pointer when you need them to or step back. I don't know. Embiid's good, and well, good is not the word. Great is probably the word. He's an MVP candidate for the year, but like, is the big man way of playing basketball, is that still a way you can win in 2021? I don't know.
it's a little bit Joel Embiid he really can he's kind of expanding his game. I'm not big on the Ben Simmons hate as other people. I think Ben Simmons is a fantastic player that just can't shoot. I mean, if Giannis brought up the ball, no one would really criticize it because Giannis is that good. I mean, Ben Simmons is definitely not on Giannis's level, but I mean, I could see the analogy there as well. I mean, Ben Simmons, yes, he can facilitate the ball and he can, rebound. He could defend. He could do everything except shoot. And like as a number one guy, Ben Simmons cannot. But he's not. They can't win. But he's not the number one guy. Joel Embiid is. It will depend on Joel Embiid and how well the shooters around them shoot if they determines it because they're a great defensive team. It's the thing with the 76ers lately has been can they shoot enough? Can they score enough to win? They might be able to this year, but any other year that wasn't the Nets, I feel a little bit more confident about them. I don't feel confident just because fucking Nets. It's grown. I've grown to hate them now, and it sucks because I kind of like KD, but no.
Yeah. Just kind of going back to the Bucks a little bit. I kind of saw everything I needed to know last year in the bubble. Them not being able to get out of the early stages or make a deep finals run when there's literally nothing going on except basketball. You don't have any, you're not traveling. It is what it is. That to me kind of just like put the final nail in the coffin. The NBA is not a league where one guy can do it. You definitely need like a legitimate number two. And even sometimes that's not enough. We saw that last the Clippers with Kawhi and PG. That's not enough. And now we see the Nets. They have three guys, and LeBron's a little bit of a different beast, and he's done it by himself. But I'm also a LeBron hitter, so it kind of just is one of those things.
My whole thing with the Bucks last year is their team last year was worse than the team the year before that. And they didn't go. It was like they didn't go to the finals that year. There's no way they're going to the finals this year. This team is worse. I said that from the very beginning. Got plenty of hate for it because the Bucks were they had a tremendous record last year. But I was like, it doesn't fucking matter. This team's worse than like you need a whole team. Like I don't people I think overestimate how many like the record how good the record is how good they are. No, that's not true. I mean, like the Spurs, and yeah, here's my bias coming in, but Spurs have always had, quite a bit of a bench, and that's always helped them in playoff series. You have to have a bench in the playoffs. If you don't have a bench in the playoffs, then but even the Nets have a bench in the playoffs, and they have superstars, and so but you have to have a bench in the playoffs, and the Bucks never had that last year. They had a better one the year before last year, and I already knew. So, like I said, I'm not high on the Bucks this year just because. I mean, yeah, they got Drew Holiday, but they don't have the bench. They don't have the bench to win.
I agree.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. In case you hadn't heard, your favorite Renegade Sports Media Group has its own Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media to support our efforts to continuously bring you sports, gaming, and other media coverage as only we can. We've got 4 different membership tiers. For $3 a month, we'll give you a simple thank you on our Patreon site. For $6 a month, you get a thank you and you get to become a recruit in Jackson Law's Vendetta University Gaming Series. For $10 a month, you get everything from the previous tiers, a special thank you at the end of our videos, free access to our upcoming Discord chat, and a free koozie after 4 months. And then the big dog, $50 a month, gets you everything from the previous tiers, as well as opportunities for Fantasy League invites, stream gaming, possible invites to mock NFL and NBA draft sessions, a once-a-month Google Hangout, and after 4 months, a free t-shirt. Yeah! Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media and help us to improve our pledge to bring you the best sports, gaming, and other media coverage.
All right, so that was the East Coast stuff. Getting into the West Coast. Lakers and Clippers. Who's going to meet the Nets in the finals? I don't know if it's the Clippers, but our boy Milo, he thinks that AD's going to be fine and the world is perfect and he's going to be 100% for the playoffs. I don't know if that's the case. I think things are a little bit weird when you're not getting, regular season reps in, but what does the West look like? Anyone going to come shock us out of there? I mean, the Jazz have been like the talk of the town recently, but I don't know, winning games in the middle of the regular season doesn't really mean much to me, especially when LeBron's in your division.
I hate to say this because I like Jared, but Utah is definitely a pretender. I don't think I think that Utah team is, they have a lot of great players. They have a bench, but it's, they have one superstar and Donovan Mitchell. And it's like, do you trust Donovan Mitchell to be the guy. Like, is he your NBA Finals MVP? Like, can he take you there? And I don't think he can yet. You know what I mean? I think, especially with the way the league is going, you need 2 stars. Don't no one fucking talk to me about Rudy Gobert being a fucking star. Dude sits in the fucking paint, okay? That's all he does. He blocks shots, he grabs rebounds, and he dunks. That's the only thing he fucking does, okay? So I don't trust Utah right now. On our symbol, our partnership, I told everyone, sell that stock, and now it's not the most expensive stock anymore. I'm telling you to sell the stock, right?
How that works, huh? Alex
I
talks to people listen.
I know, right? Imagine. I'm just gonna go down the list here. Number 2, we have the Suns. I want to believe in the Suns. I do. I like.
The
I
first
like
time I've heard the
coaching.
Suns' name thrown out in relevancy in the last 5 years.
It's crazy, but you know what? I'm pretty sure the Suns fans, they either want the respect or they want to be slept on still, right? It's one of the two. But I mean, I don't. I'm not sure how to feel about Chris Paul. I think Devin Booker's a hooper. He's always been a hooper. DeAndre Ayton, he doesn't have that much pressure on him now to succeed. So his job's a little bit easier. They have a bit of a bench now. They have more of a bench now. I didn't like the Chris Paul trade. I felt like they gave up a lot. I liked Kelly Oubre there. I felt like they would have been just fine, but it seems like I was wrong that one. So Chris Paul can still play. So that Suns team, that's the wild card. I don't know what to do with that Suns team yet, and I think it's too early to say, yeah, you know what, they're fucking it. But at the same time, I'm like, if they look scary, they look good. So the third, we have the Lakers. I fucking hate the Lakers. Their team got better, you know, and a lot of it, AD, it's shown how valuable AD is to that team because they're in a bit of a slump right now. But it shows how important AD is to that team, regardless if they have Dennis Schroeder or Montrezl Harrell. I'm on a separate note. Montrezl Harrell's not. I was really big into Montrezl Harrell, not so much anymore. He seems to be irrelevant at times. I thought he was, you know, when he even went last year with the Clippers, I thought, you know, he was kind of fading for me. The year before, I felt like, okay, yeah, he's it. He's gonna. But now I'm like, So the Lakers, if AD's fine, I think they're the favorites to go to the finals. I think Milo's crazy though if he thinks the Lakers have any chance of beating the Nets. I think it's a gentleman's sweep 4-1, if I had to guess. Ooh. Now, I hope the Clippers go though. The Clippers should have went last year. I was big on the Clippers last year, but they didn't go. Trey talked about this as soon as like during the playoffs and after the finals, is the Clippers didn't have a ball distributor. They didn't have anyone to facilitate the ball. Kawhi, you know, their 3 was facilitating the ball. So, and that's still an issue today. So, like, as much as I like the Clippers, I've always liked Kawhi Leonard. Despite what he did to my Spurs, I still love Kawhi Leonard. I love his game. I love everything about his game. I don't like his uncle. But I think they need a ball distributor. So that's what they're going to be heavy for in the NBA trade deadline. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Doc Rivers got the shit end of the stick there last year. He got fired. I thought it was kind of unfair. It's hard. My thing is, like, we were talking about this, you know, all day, but you need a second guy, and Paul George, for whatever reason, has just not been able to be a consistent number 2, never mind a number 1. Like, and you need someone else to either facilitate, bring the ball up, hit shots when you need them to. And, you know, playoff P has been like, he's kind of been in the same category as Harden for all these years. Like, just what regular season, all that, like when we're getting 75% effort on D and not running back, but when playoffs come around, the intensity's up, the fans are paying attention and loud. He just hasn't been a factor, and I wonder what the deal is with the Clippers, and I feel bad for Doc. He got the shit end of the stick. I don't know. I mean, I do respect the Clippers because they always seem like they're trying to win. They got a good owner who's really, really into it. Him and Cuban are kind of like the 2 owners that are always there courtside going nuts. And when you see an owner that into the team and that invested in their team's success, it makes you feel good as a fan. But getting Kawhi was obviously huge, but they need at this rate they're going to need a third guy, and I don't know if that's even possible with the
Yeah.
way that they've been going. And
Uh,
they'll always be second fiddle to the Lakers in LA, unfortunately.
I think yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Is Paul George? He's in his own head. I think he can't block out the noise, and that's I think people really underestimate that kind of feature or that kind of factor of the game is being able to tune out the noise. If you are on Twitter every night looking at what everyone's saying, of course they're gonna talk shit about you. Like there's gonna be one guy to talk shit about you, right? There's gonna Pandemic P was trending after he had one bad game, and I knew if he was on Twitter, he saw that shit and he gets in his head. But I mean, you can't let that get in your head. So,
But even in the
but
bubble, when there was literally no fans, nothing, like no one booing him, like it was, you get the white noise, you get a screen of people. I don't know what the actual like what was going on inside the bubble within the team and all that, but like you can't perform when you're in environment that's set up strictly for basketball and for peak performance, and there's literally no like exterior forces. You don't have to worry about family shit like for a week or whatever the case may be. You have to worry about basketball. You don't have to travel. You're literally living in Walt Disney World. Why can't you just perform if you're one of the best players? And it's one of those. I guess like the psychoanalyzing of athletes is like a whole nother conversation, and there's probably some sort of mental block going on. And he's not the only one that's been through it, but
no,
it's just like come playoff time, you need to have a true number two, and that might not even be enough. So when your number two is, you know, going fucking going crazy because he's getting shit on Twitter, like sucks for him. Or just do what Durant does: make burners, clap back at people.
make burners.
Dude, just make yourself feel better. You can respond to these people with your 15 15 account, your 15 follower accounts. Get it out, let your emotions go, and just be it as it may. But I don't know what the deal is. I am in the Suns though. That's a team that's gonna be sneaky on my radar.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how confident I am in them yet. It's a team to watch, though. That's definitely a team to watch. And because you know what, how they perform on the second half of the season, and then come playoff time, that's gonna really show you how good. I mean, because the Suns played stupid well last year. To end out the bubble, they finally got. I don't feel like people gave the Suns enough credit. DeAndre Ayton was gone for 25 games at the start of last year. And they were dealing with injuries and shit, and they finally, like, that hiatus actually helped them because they got healthy, and they fucking balled out. They were just too far down the rank or down the standings to get up there. But no, they were definitely a good team. So it's a team to watch. I think they win the first round. It's that second round that I'm worried about. I don't know, and it depends on who they match up with, but how they match up the second round.
The bubble was huge for those young teams, and we heard a little bit about it with the Heat, where you're just like when you're a young team, you're trying to come together, build your team chemistry, do what you got to do, and I guess the same apple was horrible for the Clippers when you have these big name guys that are just can't stand being around each other. They need their LA lifestyle, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, getting into the Knicks.
Okay.
You wrote about this a little bit. How when the Knicks are good, it's good for basketball, even though all us New Yorkers are assholes. I mean, you're not wrong. All New Yorkers are assholes. I'll be the first one to say it. I'm an asshole. I hog at you if you're at a red light for a half a second too long, whatever the case may be. But we mentioned them earlier. They're obviously not legit this year. They're like a few games over 500, but what is it with the Knicks that everyone every single offseason is like, we might come to New York, or the Knicks get floated around, other than being like the Mecca and the Garden? Is there any validity to any of it? Because I don't think so, because
No.
the owner sucks.
No, there's no. It's the idea of it. It's like, hey, I want, like, playing for the New York Knicks. That would be really cool because you know what, like, uh, the Knicks have always been a great basketball, like, kind of just a good basketball presence, for lack of a better term. So, like, to say, like, remember when Zion and KD and Kyrie, they were all supposed to go to the Knicks. That's nice. And, like, wow, oh, the Knicks will finally be good again. Like, superstar level, they might win a title. It's good, but it's just an idea. Like, it's not. I don't think there's really any validity behind it. So it's kind of hard. I am surprised to see the Knicks playing this well. I thought they would have been a little bit. Okay, let's be honest. I thought they were going to be well below 500. I do like some of their pieces on their team, but I don't think. And I'm glad you said that they weren't legit this year, because I think some Knicks fans really do think that they're legit, and they're not.
Dude, Knicks Twitter is one of the craziest.
They're
I don't know how much you're
wild.
wrapped in it, but like
I see it.
it's
I'm one of those
crazy.
that I see it and I'm like, I'm a scroll, because I don't have, like, if I have time to argue, I'll argue. If I don't, like, people, I see people saying Julius Randle's a top 10 player in the NBA. Like, no, that's just not true. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm glad Julius Randle is balling out. He's still a young player. He's finally, like, coming to his prime. He is not a top 10 player in the NBA.
Not
Stop,
even close.
stop being stupid. Like, I mean, it's so.
Their draft picks are finally kind of starting to pay off. Nikita Lina's playing really well the last stretch of the year. They bringing in these guys that they've drafted these guys, or they found these young guys from whatever the case may be, and they're building some camaraderie. I don't know what the deal is with the head coach and how much he's actually doing. Thibodeau, the Knicks like hierarchy is so weird because, like we said, they're literally still one of the most valuable franchises in sports. James Dolan's the owner. He owns the Rangers and the Knicks, and as well as the Garden and a bunch of other shit. But it seems to be that everyone hates working for him. People can't stand playing for him. Melo came and he was like the last free agent I can remember like willingly coming to New York. But like you got guys like Stephen A that just flow out these names like fucking Dame Time's coming to the Knicks, and it's just like I if I feel bad for like actual legitimate Knicks fans because they get their hearts broken every single year when Stephen A or whoever it is may just like,
When all the
oh,
rumors
yeah,
come
that's what I'm saying.
in,
Like everyone's and we really truly saw it this year when Durant and Kyrie they picked
yeah,
Brooklyn over the Knicks, and that's kind of that.
yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully
I
soon. I think the city would love it, but they're still a few years away, and
I
not
I
anytime
do
soon.
I do like a lot of the pieces. I think they're well on their way. I think Tom Thibbs was a good hire for the Knicks. I think I think he's a good veteran coach that himself, he's trying to get back in the game a little bit, and he's gonna work hard for it. And I think he tends to overplay his players as far as minutes go, but these guys are young. It's good for them, and I mean, so he's gonna make them better players. I do like a couple guys in the Knicks, but yeah, they're a couple years away. But you know what? If they make the playoffs this year, that's fucking huge. It doesn't matter if they get swept in the first round.
Oh,
It's fucking
it'd be
huge.
great. The city would love it. They'd literally probably hang a fucking banner just to say they did it. Dude,
Playoff 2021 playoffs. That's
we
all
made
it
it.
says.
We made it exactly. Some shit like that. I, like I said, like you said, the Julius Randle thing is kind of crazy. Everyone knows where he ranks. I mean, he might be a top 30 guy, but I don't. That's even if that's a stretch right now. And we just kind of beat the drum dead. But one guy, even if he's a top 30 guy, is not even close to enough to do it in today's NBA. We'll see. I mean, listen, I hope I'm wrong about the Knicks not being able to get any free agents. It'd be cool to go to a Knicks game and have them be relevant. Pay the price of its admission for something worth seeing, not the opponents, but even still, even
not watching,
still.
not watching the other superstars.
What that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And like the best part is like, we hear these stories about LeBron and Kobe. They come here and they come to New York and they want to play in the Mecca and they drop these numbers and they put on performances, but like no one wants to come play here for 41 games a year. No one wants to deal with the fucking Dolan and ownership and whatever the case may be. And I thought there was a glimpse of hope when they almost got the Raptors exact Yuri or whatever, I forget his name right now.
Yeah,
But
Masai Ujiri. Yeah, I got
yeah,
you.
I thought that might have been a changing point because you see guys done so well, and hopefully that Dolan would kind of just like step back and understand what's going on. But who knows?
No,
Hopefully soon.
I think the Knicks are well on their way. I always just, the Knicks they're fucking crazy. Their fans are crazy, and you know what? It's good though. That's what my whole thing was. It's good for the NBA. Is like you need that talks. It's good when the 76ers are in the playoffs. It's good when Boston's in the playoffs. They're all toxic as hell, right? You put the Knicks in there, it's even more toxic. And so and that shit sells. So it's good. Like even
Good for
like,
everyone involved.
Adam Silver, he's thinking, hey, these guys are in. This is good. You know what? Because people were talking about it. Knicks are fucking crazy, right? Everyone talks about that. So, and that's why, like, I feel like small market teams don't do as well. Like the Spurs, when they're in, they're just like kind of like a gentle giant. They'll just, they come and they play basketball. If they win, they win. If they don't, they would don't. You're not really gonna hear a big reaction out of it. The biggest news we ever got was when Kawhi Leonard was fucking, his uncle said, hey, I don't want to be here, and we had to trade him. So, like, it's good for these big market teams, at least for the NBA to go. Even me as being a small market fan. So,
yeah, you've alluded to it a few times. You're a Spurs fan. What's the deal? Is Pop going to be around forever? What?
Forever, man. Like, no, I hate to say it, but it. I think he's one of those that it's gonna take. He has to be really like down in his health to not coach. And I mean, and that's not necessarily bad because I love Coach Pop. I think he's really excited about this young team. Spurs are in playoff contention right now. We're 7th seed. And this young group is, I think, and I wrote a post about it, and it was me being biased, but I don't give a shit. But I said
It's a place where we're allowed to be biased. I'm fucking biased in everything I write. I don't give a fuck. And I literally write it. I'm biased. Continue.
That's what I did. At first I was like, if you read this, just realize that I'm being fucking biased. I write an occasional bias post. This is it right here. But I said the Spurs have one of the. I said the Spurs have the best young core in the NBA. But you can't dispute the fact that they have one of the best young cores in the NBA. I think their young core is awesome. I thought last year they were going to trade DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. I've been screaming for them to trade LaMarcus Aldridge forever now, but him and DeMar DeRozan are off the books contract wise this year. So I think they bring DeMar DeRozan back, but I think LaMarcus Aldridge is gone, and that's an extra $25 million in our pocket for free agency with this young group. I'm excited. I'm not saying we're going to win any titles here, at least for not a couple more years, but I am excited. As far as Greg Popovich, I hope Becky Hammond's long enough. I would love for Becky Hammond to be the first female coach in San Antonio, for her playing for the San Antonio team here when a WNBA team was in San Antonio. I mean, it all fits together. I think she loves the culture here. I hope she is the first female head coach for San Antonio. If she goes elsewhere, it's still monumental, groundbreaking shit. Because players really respect her, but I hope it's for San Antonio.
Yeah, I remember when she got to coach her first game, like not the outcry, but like the reaction of everyone was good for her, and not from like players and like people that would maybe just normally have kept their mouth shut. It seemed to be like a very well received thing, and you would obviously know better, but if she's that well liked amongst the crew and everything like that, I mean, for Pop to give his his sign of approval to let her coach in his absence, whatever the case may be, it's big. To me, he's one of those guys he gets to coach for as long as he wants he's earned enough.
It's a lifetime deal. Yeah, it's a lifetime deal.
He's earned enough. He's earned enough. Judge, you mentioned this earlier, DeRozan. Poor DeRozan. He kind of got lumped into that Kawhi trade, and it's been like forgotten piece. Meanwhile, he was like the face of the Toronto franchise that was on the up and up. Him and Lowry were kind of just doing their thing, and now I guess I didn't really think of Texas as a small market, but you're right. I've never heard. DeMar DeRozan's been he's been quiet since he left. So it just being involved in one of those like gigantic trade pieces to go and then they win the championship without you is kind of gotta suck.
I do feel bad for him at times. And if you talk to Trey about this, he'll say, he say that DeMar DeRozan's a shitty ass player and he deserves it, and there's a reason why. And I mean, I guess there is some evidence behind that. But you know what, DeMar DeRozan, he's played really well. It's just natural for if you go to the Spurs, you're not really heard of anymore. I think that's just facts. I think Spurs have one of the, like I said, some of the best young core pieces in the NBA, but no one's talking about them because why they play in San Antonio. And so I think DeMar DeRozan could have been an all-star this year. I'm not beating up about it because obviously I don't give a shit about the all-star thing. I think he could have been. I don't give a shit about the all-star game because the fans voted and shit. But I mean, I think he's still a hell of a player. I think they do re-sign him. He's played stupid well with this crew. It does suck because I don't even think Kyle Lowry is that really all that good. I think he's, maybe top 10, top 15 point guard in the league, but I'm not sold on Kyle Lowry as a lot of people. I think he's one of those guys that disappears. Like everyone talks about DeMar DeRozan disappearing. Kyle Lowry was the same way. They both disappeared in games. That's why they never won any playoff series. But as soon as Kawhi goes, Kawhi doesn't disappear in games. He'll I mean, very seldom does he have bad shooting night in the playoffs, but I mean, he'll go and he'll win a game, and that's what happened. So,
All right, Alex, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Where can everyone follow you? It'll be down in the post below, but what's your at?
It's gonna be Vendetta Coach on Twitter.
All right, check him out. He writes NBA. He's biased. Does writes whatever. Honestly, we all kind of all write whatever. But my last point on this is like where the thing about Vendetta that at least I am just attracted to is like the authenticity and like your just ability to be genuine. And if you don't have, we're all like actual sports fan. I know that's kind of like a punching bag that Trey uses every now and then is like, you guys all say you're a sports fan, blah, blah, blah. But like, if you're actually a sports fan, you have a team, you have a bias. And like, as far as I'm concerned, like that's what makes shit good, authentic. Like, I don't know. It is.
Well, it's good. And that's kind of what the brand is. The brand's, it's unfiltered. It's an edge. If I want to say, hey, this guy fucking sucks, he fucking sucks. And I could write that in a post. And I think and you know what, big things are coming and you know this well as I do, but I mean, this is a long time in the making. So this brand sells. Vendetta it's great. I mean, I think it's good. I can't say that word right now, but I'm a teacher, by the way. So I'm a math teacher. Okay. That's what it is. I do numbers. Okay. But, it's good because we all argue about our points and it doesn't really matter if we're right or wrong. We're just talking shit. Like we're talking shit. We're saying what we want to say. As long as you stick by it, there's always a respect factor there too. And you know what, if you're wrong,
stick by it. That's the big thing. As long as you stick by it or willing to like have a debate about it or,
and if you're wrong, just say you're wrong. If you're wrong, just say you're wrong. And
listen,
it's easier that way.
Yeah, that's a theme in life. You know you're wrong, hand up, take it on the chin, move on, and just do better next time. But
exactly.
That's gonna do it for Alex. Thanks again for coming on. Just talk to you soon.